Ladies, did you know that after your appearance, you are judged immediately by the way that you speak? People will assume all kinds of things about you, from your social class to your educational background, or how well-mannered or even ill-mannered you are when you speak. Ladies, I don't want you to make the mistake of looking and dressing well, but speaking in a crass manner. On your journey to becoming an elegant woman, it's imperative that you refine the way that you speak so you portray an image of respectability and class. Ladies, I want you to watch this video to the very end, because everything that I will be saying is so invaluable, and I want you to really get the most out of your level up journey. It's not all about looks, it's not all about fashion. There are certain things in your vocabulary, in the way that you speak, that you probably need to improve. So therefore, please watch this till the end. Ladies, welcome back to another video. For those of you who don't know, my name is Vivienne. I am the founder of Woman of Elegance, which is a platform where I teach women globally how to become the best versions of themselves. Today, I will be going through with you 14 crucial points that you must take on board if you want to refine the way that you speak, and mistakes that you must avoid that could ultimately cost you the image that you've worked so hard to attain. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Number 1, don't use fillers. Well, if you really want to, create a very image, a really good, basically a good image. Ladies, how bad did that sound? That sounded awful. Using these words such as like, what you're really doing is buying time, and you're not really structured in your approach within your conversation. And this is something that you need to avoid. When you use these kind of fillers, you run the risk of boring your listener, and this is not something that you want to do, because people will just forget about you and they just would not really want to speak to you. Start to train yourself to stop using these words. Instead, take a brief pause to gather your train of thought and then continue speaking. You don't have to speak so fast. Speaking so fast doesn't particularly mean that you're eloquent. When you take your time to speak, this will help to improve your train of thought and your words will come out a lot more fluently. Number 2, speak in a measured tone. Speaking in a measured tone is really a skill that takes time to master. This involves not speaking too loudly or too softly, or even in a monotone way. For example, when you're on the bus or in some other public space and people are inadvertently listening to your conversation, you want to ensure that you're speaking in a very lower tone, just to stop people eavesdropping in your conversation, because it's not very nice when people are listening to everything that you're saying. Also, vary the pace and your tone to create meaning to what you're saying. Also, varying the way that you speak in terms of pace will give emphasis to what you're saying and keep listeners engaged, and this is what you want. Essentially, these are skills that are very important in many social settings, for example, networking events or job interviews. So please take the time to really try and master this kind of skill. Number 3, don't raise your voice. Ladies, if you raise your voice, if you shout, then you will no longer have the word elegant attached to you. It's as simple as that. Speaking too loudly is crass, it's tacky, it's not ladylike at all. So please avoid this. So ladies, you might reason to yourself, well, I'm with my friends and when we're having a fantastic time, we laugh loudly, we joke, we do silly things, which is understandable. But ladies, you cannot easily switch on and off depending on the kind of social setting that you're in. You could easily slip up. So it's important to train yourself well now, so you can adapt the best behaviors within every single social setting that you find yourself in. Remember the saying, old habits die hard? This is absolutely true. Raising your voice really gives listeners the impression that you're not very well trained, you don't have good manners, and you're not classy. And ladies, this is not the impression that I want you to leave in your listener's mouth at all. You never want to give people that kind of impression. Number 4, don't speak too much. Sometimes, ladies, it really baffles me when I see women talk and dominate a conversation literally without even giving any thought to the listener's facial expression. Sometimes the listener could look so bored or so aggravated and annoyed, yet the speaker just keeps going on and on. Please don't be that type of woman. If you continue to speak even after your listener is clearly disengaged in the conversation and starts doing things like even rolling their eyes, then there's something seriously wrong. In these kind of situations, discernment is very, very important. Good communication is about being able to discern when you're speaking too much. Look at your listener's reaction and don't just continue to rant on for minutes on end. If you do, people will stop communicating with you. People will start avoiding you. In addition to this, speaking less really adds to your mystique. It keeps people intrigued by you and keeps people wanting more. Be that kind of lady that's full of intrigue and mystery. Number 5, maintain eye contact, but don't stare bizarrely. Visual cues really communicate a lot. So even when your mouth stops moving, the way you behave, the way you look at the person in front of you communicates a lot. When you maintain natural eye contact, this really puts the person that you're speaking to at ease, and this signals to other people around you that you are very much focused on the person in front of you. It also shows them that you're paying attention to them, which is very important. Once you do this, it tells other people around you that you are engrossed in conversation, and that way they are very unlikely to interrupt you. On the other hand, ladies, it's very bad manners to stare obsessively at the person. So momentarily break eye contact with the person without looking bored or without looking down, because that looks as if you're uninterested. A technique that I use in order to break up eye contact in a very natural way is to perhaps turn around to gently clear my throat, because you don't want to do that in front of the person. That's bad manners. Or even when I'm laughing, laugh away. That's a very good way of breaking the monotony of eye contacts, because you just don't want to be seen to be staring. That can really put your listener off. Ladies, I have something very special for you. I have created the Woman of Elegance handbook. Ladies, this handbook has more than 40 valuable points that will aid you in a range of social settings. It covers conversation etiquette, dining etiquette, and basic or general etiquette. Ladies, this is absolutely free to download. Go onto my website, www.womanofelegance.com, and you can download it from there. Also, if you check my Instagram page, woman_of_elegance, you can go onto my link tree and it's available to download there. Ladies, this is a beautifully designed piece. I want you to take advantage of it. The points are all there, simple to read, simple to understand. So download your free copy now. Number 6, don't interrupt. Interrupting a conversation is absolutely bad manners, and if this is something that you're accustomed to, please work hard to dispel this. When you interrupt, it really conveys to the person that you don't really care about what he or she is saying. If you're really striving to become a better speaker, then this is the first thing that I want you to adapt. Let the person finish speaking before you interject. Ladies, it will leave such a lasting impression on the person. You would be surprised. There is nothing worse than being that woman who is known for interrupting. You will find that you will be avoided, and this is something I don't want for you. There's a quote by Ernest Hemingway that states, "When people are talking, listen completely. Most people never listen." And that is very, very true in our society. Most people don't listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. We don't want to be that kind of person. Be a listener of consideration and honesty. If the person that you're conversing with is ranting on excessively, don't show the person that you're bored or you're fed up with what they're saying. If you absolutely have to leave, then jump in when there's a slight break in the conversation. You can say something like, "John, it was an absolute pleasure speaking to you. We must find some time again to continue this conversation." Then you signal a gesture to leave. Never look irritated or annoyed. Number 7, avoid excessive use of hand gestures. Okay, don't do this. This is too much. A little bit is okay, but when it becomes excessive, it becomes intimidating. It's much more polite to be minimalistic with your hand gestures. Think less seller of fruits at the marketplace and more auction, perhaps, if you know what I mean, ladies. A good technique for this is to keep your hands to your sides or keep them cupped together. If you naturally gesticulate with your hands, then perhaps maybe hold a handkerchief or hold your handbag towards you. This will make you more aware of your hand movements and you'll be less inclined to use your hands if this is something that you tend to do excessively. Number 8, avoid the use of slang. So ladies, on your journey to becoming elegant, you need to strive to be sophisticated. Refining and polishing our expression really means detaching ourselves from anything that is crass. Challenge yourself to sit a cut above the rest and avoid using slang words. Slang words are not classy. The use of slang words is not something that you would do, for example, in front of the Queen or other members of the royal family, or even at a job interview. Why would you do it in other situations then? A way in which to do this is to start placing yourselves in sophisticated social settings, because you will find that they do not use slang terms, or if they do, it's very, very minimal. And then you will start to adapt the same kind of way of speaking. Number 9, never use profanities. So ladies, without filtering anything, swearing brings things to the gutter. Swearing is really the use of language which is used to shock, which is used to offend people, and it gives people the impression that not all is well with you. Elegant and really decent women do not swear, so it's imperative that you eliminate this from your vocabulary immediately. Not just swearing though, ladies, hand gestures, kissing or hissing your teeth, which is considered vulgar in many cultures. So this is something that you should also strive to eliminate too. If there is one thing on this list that I really want you to change, it is this: stop swearing. It does absolutely nothing good for your image. I want you to be poised vehicles of refinement, so please cut out the profanities today. Number 10, don't be monotone. So ladies, what does this mean? Well, as touched upon earlier in this video, it really means speaking with little or no expression in your voice. Monotone signals boredom and really a disinterest in what even yourself is speaking about, and of course being bored with your partner, and this is something that you should really avoid. So please avoid being monotone. Number 11, don't be stiff. Smile and be expressive. Here at Woman of Elegance, I really strive to empower women to be the best versions of themselves, not be a version of somebody else. I want you to create a very demure and ladylike appearance, but not so much damsel in distress when you're speaking. I want you to be firm and assertive when you speak. I don't want you to be flirtatious or excessively inviting when you speak. That is not what I'm trying to convey to you. But when you have a natural rhythm in your poise and your speech, this does a lot of good. Don't be too over the top in showing your listener that you're present, but it's important to strike the balance with being engaged. Look at your general body language. Where are your hands? How are you standing? How are you sitting? What is your neck like? What is your general posture like? What is your eye contact like? Pay attention to all these. What is your face communicating when your mouth is closed? Do you look bored and stiff, or are you engaged in what the person is saying? One thing I love about face-to-face conversation is that it allows for more expression than a text or email. So ladies, if you can, engage yourself in more face-to-face conversation, because this is the best way to practice. So to those of you who are introverted, you probably would need to start practicing this kind of skill in the mirror. Start by using your eye contact in a measured way, as we discussed earlier, nodding gently and smiling to show how engaged you are with your speaker. Number 12, show your listener that you are actively listening and not passively doing so. Showing that you're actively listening involves more than not speaking when the other person is speaking. Engagement and expression are important, and generally good etiquette is about showing how involved you are when the other person is speaking. Give signals and cues to demonstrate how actively you're listening. Number 13, widen your vocabulary. Ladies, I want you to stop using basic words that you're accustomed to using. I want you to start using better and more poetic words in your sentences. There are a few ways in which you can do this. You can read more, you can widen your social circles and vary the things that you listen to and watch on TV. Instead of watching reality TV all day, you can perhaps start watching documentaries. That way you'll pick up on certain words that have been used, and if you don't know what they mean, you can easily look them up. Elegant women are poetic and they leave lasting impressions, good impressions. I'm not saying that we all have to speak the way Charles Dickens writes, but a little more expression in your vocabulary, a little more varied vocabulary will put you at a cut above the rest. This will really elevate your speech and will impress people. Using a broadened vocabulary involves using different, more expressive, more meaningful words. When you do this, your listener would be very intrigued by the things that you're saying. Number 14, don't cackle with laughter. No dear, no, there's no need for that. Ladies, please note, this is not a personality assault. If this is your expressive way of laughing, if you laugh like this, if this is your personality, but there is excess and I want you to avoid the excess, it doesn't mean the louder you laugh, the more funny you think that the speaker is. This is not necessarily the case. You can chuckle elegantly and the speaker will think that you think that they are funny. You don't have to cackle so loudly with laughter. This is just a reminder not to spoil your ladylike mystique and elegance by cackling and shrilling with laughter, because this will detract from the image that you're trying to portray and it's just not very classy in any case. Practice softening your laughter into a more refined chuckle. This is less brash and it's a lot more feminine when you laugh in a very measured and softer way. Ladies, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you're going to take these points on board. Please remember that the way we speak is so important, possibly more important than our appearance. We never want to give the impression to our listeners that we are not classy and that we are ill-mannered. Remember, it takes a lifetime to build a very strong and good reputation and just a few minutes to tear it all down. Ladies, thank you very much for watching.